on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to the War Room. Welcome to episode 262. And believe it or not, we're 6 weeks away from the 4th anniversary of Cocktails in the War Room, which doesn't seem possible. What's up, Marcy, Tracy, Jonathan, Alexis is here, Kim, Lou, Eric, Brett, Dina is here, Emily, and Bish joining us here in the War Room. If you're new to the War Room, let me get you caught up. I'm Mistress Carrie. I'm your host. This is the War Room, the room in my house where all my military memorabilia is, where all the photos, the artifacts that I brought back from my trips overseas, and also where the bar is, which is why we started hanging out here on March 14th of 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and it turned into a thing. We did it 80 nights in a row, and we were able to avoid becoming full-blown alcoholics after that. And then we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show when we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast in mid-June of 2020. And since then, we get together every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern to talk about music, talk about what's going on in our lives, to be a kind of support group when things are bad, cheerleaders when things are good. We celebrate weddings and sometimes divorces, babies, grandbabies, obviously pets, because if you're new to the War Room, allow me to introduce you to my very impatient co-host, Wednesday, who is collecting more and more of her own drinks over here all the time. Down, Wednesday. Here you go. Good girl. Let's see. Jessica, Ozzy doing his final shows before he retires. Yep, he's going to do them in Birmingham, actually. So you're going to have to get a passport and get on a plane if you want to see one of Ozzy's final shows. What's up, Ash? Mr. Cole. We celebrate typos. That is a fact. And we drink socials because of them. Donna and William. Hi, Keith. How are you doing? He says, hey, fuckers. Bish says, nice shirt, Carrie. Thank you. These retro, 3/4 sleeve jerseys, I love. And I'm working on a design. The Backstage Pass holders know I'm working on a black and gray design that I'm hoping to have done by the big gig in April. So we could talk about the big gig coming up. Let's see. Raging dog alcoholic, says Erin. Yeah, exactly. Or says Eric. Don't you know that you are not supposed to be the crash test dummy? No, that's what we do around here. What's up, Tracy? Donna says, just finished making a bunch of dog treats. Wednesday, we'll be getting some very soon. You know she appreciates it. Jessica says, my dad is having his hip replaced on February 6th. So I have a couple of relatives that this happened to, and they had them up and moving around within hours of surgery. And it was unbelievable how quick the recovery was. I could not believe how much better they felt, how fast they felt better. But there were a lot of instructions, like you couldn't sit on anything hard for a while. You had to sit on a pillow if you were going to be on an unupholstered chair. Obviously the PT, the stretching, not easy. But the only person I know that had any kind of complications was LB. He actually had both hips replaced, and one of them he had to have replaced twice because there was an issue with the joint that they put in there. Alexa says, our cat passed away today, so I'm not good today. Alexis, I'm so sorry. It's something that we talk about here in the show a lot, especially during the lockdown, but anytime really, that our pets are our sanity. They're like our best friends. I can tell you guys that since my cousin's family left, Wednesday has been like glue for me, because she's been sad that she's the only dog in the house now, and she's lonely, and there's no easy way to get over the loss of a pet. It's impossible to quantify the impact that they have on our lives, and when they're not there, it's like there's a missing piece out of your house. It's just, so sending you all the love in the world, because it's just awful. And the only thing that you can do, as I've lost many pets over the years, is find solace that you gave them the most wonderful life while you had them, because we all know when we get pets, unless you get something, like a turtle or something that's definitely 100% going to outlive you, your pet is not going to outlive you. And you know that you're going to have to mourn the loss of that. And you go through that, right? When you decide to get a pet, you're like, okay, do I want to go through that again? Most pet owners have lost a pet already, and you weigh the good with the bad, and the good years and all of the joy they bring you obviously outshines the sadness when they're gone. And it just still sucks though. So that is an example of exactly why the War Room is here. Because if you're having a good day, you've got good news to share, you're having a sad day, you're going to find a support group here in the War Room every Tuesday night. Jessica wants to know how my mom is doing. So I need you guys to cross fingers. If you believe in a higher power and you don't mind wasting a prayer on me. My sister and I got some news last week that we may be close, not guaranteed, but maybe close to being able to transfer my mom to our number one choice facility, where my mom had said she wanted to have to go if she ever had to go anywhere. And because of COVID and the bed shortage and the staffing shortages, we have been trying for a year and a half to be able to move my mom. And we got some news last week, and we have started filling out forms and working on it. And I am told that everything is moving in the right direction, but I am not going to rest on laurels until she's literally in an ambulance and being moved. And I know that it's a permanent move. But we are moving in the right direction. And after, a year and a half of trying, my sister and I are optimistic. It would get my mom closer to home. It would get her closer to all of her friends and most of my family. It just would be a better situation all around. Not that she's not being cared for where she is, but I think her quality of life would be better being closer to everybody that loves her, because a lot of my mom's friends are older and either don't drive at night, or they don't get on the highway, or they, just are not able to go and make the time to visit my mom the way that they would like to, because she's too far away from them. And so if we can pull this off, which everybody involved is optimistic that we're going to, we could have some really good news in the next couple of weeks, which would be such a weight off my sister and I's heart, being able to carry out another set of wishes that my mom had, and to be able to do what she said she wanted and do what we know is going to be best for the family, for her friends, for her, for us. So nothing official yet, but we're crossing our fingers and literally, hey, don't be fresh. And Wednesday would also be able to visit her more. One of the things that when we went and toured the place and had the meetings was confirming that there was pet visitation, which there is, which would be fantastic. Eric says, how far away from home is she right now? She's an hour from me. And it's been hard, because when there's inclement weather, I might have an hour in my day where I could take a lunch break, but it's not long enough for me to be able to go and spend time with her. I need 3 or 4 hours, and that's without traffic. And so it's made it really hard for my sister and I to be able to spend the amount of time we want to with my mom. Hey, get out of the cookie pocket over here. So being able to move her closer where everybody is going to have better access to her is what we've been trying for. So Heinz says, totally agree. Being around family and friends makes a big difference, 100%. Wednesday says she wants treats and belly rubs. Jessica, trust me, I know. Tracy says, oh my God, that would be awesome. So yeah, you guys know over the last, 4 years, I have definitely had my share of ups and downs. And Sometimes it felt like 1 down, then 2 down, then 3 down. And I think it can get like that with anything, with stress. Over here, Wednesday, is that sometimes you feel like you're being kicked when you're down. Okay, that's it. There's no more cookies. That's it. And when you're already stressed out and then something else happens, it feels like it's twice as hard to recover from that. And so Wednesday, there's no more in there. The cookie pocket's empty. So to have something good like this come, if it happens, which we're, like I said, optimistic, but cautiously optimistic, it just kind of takes a little bit of that edge off of everything else so that you can focus some of that nervous energy and stress onto something else as opposed to that. So that's where we're at with that. John Lassonde says, what's up, Mistress Carrie? I miss hearing you on WAAF since I moved to Maine. John, you know that I'm on the radio in Maine, right? Are you anywhere near Portland? Because you can hear me on 106.3 The Bone every afternoon in Portland, Maine. Or you can stream the Portland station if you can't listen to it. But you don't have to miss me. I haven't gone anywhere. Elsa says, I can't believe my son is turning 17 years old in 19 days. Wednesday, stop being fresh. That's crazy. 17 is a big year because it's like, it's that realization that you're in your last year of childhood, that like when that year is over, legally you're an adult, even though we all know that at 18, you are full blown not an adult in a lot of ways. But 17, you're starting to figure out what you want to do after high school, and it's just a lot. But yeah, that's crazy. Tracy says, some days it feels like the universe hates you. Exactly. It's like, it's those videos that you see of people trying to get out of the ocean and they get hit by a wave and they fall down. And as they're getting back up, this other wave comes, and that's what it feels like. Brett says, Jeopardy had a Van Halen category today. Oh, I am going to have to go and find the audio for that. That's hilarious. Eric says, I'll cross everything from my fingers, toes, eyes, and my split ends. Thank you very much. Elsa says, the bone. Carol says, I can't believe my son is 40. Michael Cole says, yeah, you get 17 and then it's time to sign up for selective service. Let me tell you a funny story about signing up for selective service, by the way. So when I started school when I was 4, I started kindergarten when I was 4 because of when my birthday was. And so I graduated from high school at 17 and had already moved into my dorm at college before my 18th birthday. And so when I came home that first weekend after I turned 18, obviously I went down to register to vote. And was registering to vote at home with my parents' address because my dorm wasn't a permanent address. And I asked about registering for selective service because I didn't realize that I couldn't. I thought that everybody that turned 18 had to do it. And they kind of laughed and they were like, no, you're a girl. You don't register for selective service. And I asked them like, well, why? I don't understand why I'm not as responsible to have to register. And I was like offended and upset by the notion that I wasn't allowed to register for selective service. So it's funny that you brought that up. Carrie, with all the good that you've done for people, God owes you one. Look, you guys know me. Like I'm not the most spiritual of people. So I don't do the things that I do because I'm hoping that it boomerangs back and brings me good fortune. I do what I do because it makes me feel good and makes me feel like I'm contributing to my society. And I feel like everybody should just do that instead of doing good deeds because you're going to be promised a reward of some kind. Or, you know, I don't need the promise of heaven or the threat of hell or whatever to do those things. But if you are, in fact, putting pennies in your karma jar, which is kind of a joke that I have with my friends and family, so that every once in a while you can cash in those pennies, I would cash them all in right now to get my mom situated in a situation where it's going to benefit her and everybody in the family. So Emily says having an elderly parent with dementia is never easy, sending lots of hugs. Emily, I appreciate that. You guys have been through, the realization about my mom's illness. You guys have held my hand through this whole thing, been so generous in sharing your own stories and experience and opinions on what worked and didn't work with you guys. And so, yeah. John says, didn't you graduate from Leominster High? Yes, I did, John. Go Blue Devils. Paul says, hey, Carrie, miss you on AAF a lot. Listen to you all the time, though. I hope everything goes well. You're still looking beautiful. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Eric says, how long were you in the Corps? Eric, I know you're not talking to me. I'm married into the Corps, but I'm not in the Corps myself. Don't you know we're in hell right now? It's called nonstop political ads from fucking hell. So what's funny is if you guys listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast, sometimes you hear commercials. Sometimes it's me reading the commercials. Sometimes it's just a commercial for whatever the business is that week that runs. And one of the things that we have the ability to do is kind of filter out commercials or subject matter of types of commercials and advertisers that we don't want on our podcast. And just last week, Pantheon, the podcast network, from time to time, we have these live Zoom calls with all the podcast hosts. And that was one of the things that we were talking about is the ability to decide the subject matter, because some people have more conservative podcasts or maybe they wouldn't want anything that's alcohol, drug, or sex in nature, which totally get. And so for me, I was like, I don't want any political ads at all. I don't care what side of the political spectrum. I want people to come to my podcast because they're looking for some kind of an escape. And obviously we've had serious discussions in the past with my guests, but especially from the political ads, which are only going to get worse the longer we get into 2024. I made those settings known on my podcast to make sure that stuff wasn't going to end up there. So it's funny that you brought that up. Jason says, hey, I'm sorry I'm late for what your mom is going through. Jason, I appreciate that. But we're hoping for some good news. Mr. Cole says, Mr. C is the one in the Corps. He's the lifer. Yeah, exactly. Tracy says, I can't go to hell. I work retail. I already did my time. I was the assistant night manager of Spencer Gifts for a while I was in college and after college and around the holidays. Trust me, I get it. Does anyone get those weird spam messages? Jonathan wants to know on Facebook. So let me clear this up, guys, because I really appreciate you guys tipping me off when these things happen. When and if we do contests for anything here in the War Room, or if you have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, I am never going to comment on the War Room on Facebook with a link that I want you to click. It's not going to happen. I have told you guys many times that if I'm giving things away through the War Room, that I am going to have you contact me through a way that I know is secure. So if you guys ever get comments, reply comments on your comments here in the War Room, telling you that you won something, if it's got my logo on it, if it says Mistress Carrie, it's not me. People have been setting up fake profiles, stealing my logos and artwork, and spamming every single comment in the War Room, trying to get you guys to click links, which is only going to give your computer herpes or something. So when you see those, report them. I try to do my best to go in there and read through the comments after the shows, which you guys have known that I've done for years. And I block all of those people, but they continue to make new profiles. It's going to be an ongoing process, but I am never going to comment on your comments and ask you to click a link for anything, telling you that you want a prize and that you need to click it or whatever. It's not going to happen. If I ever comment on a comment of yours, I will tell you to reach out to me directly through Patreon, through my own website, or some way where I know that our communication is going to be direct. So yeah, don't believe those spam messages. You guys see them from time to time. Or getting weird sex ones, Jonathan says. Yeah, because it says Mistress Carrie on my profile, it thinks you guys are all into sadomasochism and bondage. And so like every mistress on Facebook is trying to get you guys to follow their pages because they're all looking for loyal slaves. I'm the only mistress these people need, okay? You don't need to go and try to poach my crew here. Trina says Mistress Carrie is not a Nigerian priest or Nigerian prince. Yeah, you don't need to send me money. Every site has the same problem, Kim says. It happens all the time. Mike says the number of dominatrixes get contacted by whenever I comment on something with your name on it. I know it's what happens, and I apologize, guys. I'm sorry that happens to you. And what I've noticed with a lot of the banned sites, all of that it happens to everybody. It's unfortunate, but it happens to everybody. Bish says, hey, don't tempt me with a good time. Lou says, okay, that clears it up. I've gotten 2 messages that say I've won something. That's crazy. Yet, Lou, you are not going to get messages like that saying you won something. And what you guys can always do is like, don't click, hover. It always spells my name wrong. It always it's just don't click on any of that stuff. The little 3 circles, you can report it as spam. You can block those people so that they can't comment. I do my best to catch that stuff before it gets really bad, but these bots are just nonstop. So Michael Cole says warmer weather is coming. Trust me, I can't wait. My driveway is like a skating rink right now. Eric says when the profile says Mistress Carrie occupation Roman Catholic priest, I can ignore it. Yes. Although I did just celebrate my 1-year anniversary of being a minister. I got the thing the other day because I am registered clergy in the Commonwealth so that I can marry people in Massachusetts. And so, I mean, technically, I'm not a Roman Catholic priest, but technically I'm clergy. Eric says, so when the profile pic, oh, yes, you can ignore it. Yes. Spell mistress with 2 I's. There's a dot between mistress and Carrie. It's misspelled stuff. What do you think about our native Leominster football player, Noah Gray, going to the Super Bowl for his 2nd time in 3 years? It's unbelievable. So right across from the post office in downtown Leominster, the electrical boxes for like the street lights and stuff, they have them decorated all different ways in Leominster, and Noah has his own electrical box across the street from the post office in his Kansas City Chiefs uniform. So it's pretty spectacular that he's going to another Super Bowl. Like, for as obsessed as Leominster has always been with their football program, seeing a kid come out of the Leominster football program and go to the Super Bowl, it's unbelievable. So it's awesome. Let's see. Jessica says, Heart is going on the road. They are, but they didn't schedule any of those tour dates in New England because they're opening up for Journey and Def Leppard at Fenway. And anytime tours get scheduled, they have radius clauses in there. And so this Heart tour that they're doing with Cheap Trick, who is another band rotating through that Def Leppard and Journey tour, none of those Heart dates are in New England right now. So William says it's only 70 down here in New Mexico. Thanks a lot, William. So yeah, Steven says, good evening, family. Greetings from Hampton, Virginia. Sorry I'm late. No problem. Jessica says, my cousin wanted the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I wanted Detroit because I can't root for the Chiefs other than a Lemonster guy being on the team, because if Mahomes wins another Super Bowl, we're going to be dealing with he's going to surpass Tom Brady bullshit. I don't want to hear it all. The Chiefties. Mike Dillon says, go Chiefties. Oh my God. I wanted the Lions to win. I love the underdog of it. I do want to say one thing though, bringing up the Chiefties thing. This is for the dads a lot of time. I'm not in the business of sticking up for Taylor Swift. She's more than capable of sticking up for herself. But I wanted to point this out. I saw this meme get circulated on Facebook by a friend of mine. And we're getting ready to go back into another Olympic season. And you see somebody like Simone Biles, who is married to a Green Bay Packer, whose name slips my head right now. But when Simone Biles is competing in the Olympics again, her famous football player husband is going to be in the stands, and they're going to show him on TV. When people get upset about the Taylor Swift coverage, I just want to throw this out there as a counter opinion on the whole thing. Yes, it can be annoying, and yes, she's sitting there with Mrs. Mahomes, like, whatever. That aside, they did some research on the amount of marketing weight that has been brought to the NFL because of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And it's over $350 million in value to the Kansas City Chiefs. Marketing value to the Kansas City Chiefs because of Taylor Swift. That's marketing value. Actual value in merchandise sales to her fan base that is above and beyond the Chiefs. That's cash money. Ratings and advertising, because people that are not active football fans are now watching the Kansas City Chiefs because of it, has changed the game when it comes to the money in the NFL. But here's the thing that doesn't get talked about a lot. Taylor Swift is in a relationship with a guy where both of them in their respective fields are on top of their game. Travis Kelce is in the prime of his career, going for another Super Bowl victory. His podcast is hugely successful, and he has lined himself up like most athletes try to do with a future after the NFL, which we all know the NFL careers are so short because of injury and fear of CTE. Taylor Swift has proven to be the biggest musical artist in the world when it comes to album sales and concert ticket sales and merch sales. And that's not me and conjecture. It's just facts. And nobody was criticizing Travis Kelce when there was all of that social media video of people's camera phones videoing Travis Kelce watching Taylor Swift. And what happens when you criticize Taylor Swift for being on TV at a football game? First of all, she's never going to not be famous. It's never going to, even if she never releases another record, she's going to be famous for the rest of her life. And so is she not expected to go and support her boyfriend? Is she not expected to cheer and wear his jersey like any of us would? But the message that I think a lot of people don't understand that sends, if you're a guy, if you're a fan of football and you're criticizing the Taylor Swift stuff in front of your daughters, it is possible that your daughters could read into that she needs to shrink and be smaller, that it's annoying to you as a man that Taylor Swift is getting so much attention as a woman. And it could be read into by your daughter. So just as a woman, think about that, because so many girls growing up idolize her. And when the men in their life are criticizing this woman that they view as a role model for doing nothing nefarious, she's not on drugs, she's not sloppy drunk, she's just cheering on her incredibly successful boyfriend, your daughters might internalize that and think that maybe that's how they need to act too. And so just think about that it is possible, and maybe it's worth the discussion. If all of a sudden your daughter, wants to watch football with you because of Taylor Swift, and she hears nothing on TV except people criticizing Taylor Swift for being there cheering on her boyfriend. Isn't Mr. C a Swiftie? Tracy says, oh yeah, Mr. C is a Swiftie big time. 100% he is a Swiftie. So just be cautious of that there are so many people right now, for whatever reasons, politically motivated, just because she's so overexposed. She is the biggest music artist in the world. She's going to get press, going to get a coffee. There's going to be analysis about how she drinks her coffee, and that's not her fault. She's just going to a football game, going in the back door. She's not walking a red carpet. She's not wearing $10,000 gowns. She's hanging out with her boyfriend's parents, watching a game. And the NFL knows if they put her on TV that they're going to get higher ratings, and then they're going to jack up the price of their advertising. They're doing it because it benefits them. Don't teach girls they need to shrink because it's annoying that they're successful, because that fucking sucks. So, Dylan says, you never supported me like that. You made fun of my yellow shorts. Dylan, I did make fun of your yellow shorts. I apologize. Eric says, Taylor is an amazing artist. She controls everything from her show to the drinks to the food to how she puts her song in order. She writes her own songs. She does all of it. David Draymond from Disturbed just last week was on stage because he pulled like a teenage girl up on stage and pointed out that she was at this concert with her dad. And he was like, this is a parenting win. Like, she's at a rock show. And he said, not at a Taylor Swift show. Like, she's loving heavy metal. And people started booing when he said Taylor Swift. And David Draymond stopped all of them and was like, Taylor Swift writes her own songs, sings live, and plays guitar live. That's good for all genres of music. And I couldn't agree more. So, you don't have to like her music. Maybe she's an asshole. I don't know. I've never met her. I'm hoping my husband never meets her, because he'd probably leave me for her. But trying to knock her down a peg because she's too successful, they don't do that to guys the way that they do it to girls. So just be cognizant of that if you've got younger girls watching what you're saying about Taylor Swift. Stephen Thomas says, I'm a Swiftie, but I don't pay those concert prices. Getting the tickets is hard. Never mind paying for them. Just having the opportunity to buy them is tough. Tom says, hey kids, you guys talking about rooting for the 49ers? It's one of those things where, can both teams lose the Super Bowl? Like, is that possible? Because I don't want to see either team win. I want to see something like the Browns, the Bengals, the Lions, because we know the Pats aren't going to win. So at least let me cheer for a team that's the underdog so that I can watch the city freak out like we did 20 some odd years ago. Hines says, have her on the show. I would love to have Taylor Swift on the show. Are you kidding me? I would interview Taylor Swift in a hot minute on my podcast. I don't think she wants to come on my podcast, but if she ever did, if somebody watching this is friends with her, she would 100% be more than welcome to come on the show. Yeah, and Mike Dillon, who's here in the War Room, who was a tech with me back in the day, says, don't forget about the $55 million in crew bonuses that her crew got from Taylor Swift, including each truck driver getting a $100,000 bonus check from her at the end of that leg of the Eras tour. Can you imagine being a truck driver on these tours And these trucks roll out like they don't all go in one convoy. They roll out because they've got these stages getting built all over the country. And I read a story that said that after the truck drivers got those bonuses, 100,000, that's life-changing money for a working person. And I read a story that all of the truckers lined their rigs up on the road going into one of her shows and all did trucker alerts on the air horns as Taylor Swift drove through in her truck with her dad to say thank you, because these truck drivers, a lot of the techs, they don't have personal access to Taylor Swift. So they just show up for work to drive their trucks and find out they get $100,000 bonus. She didn't have to do that. Those guys get paid good money, but she bonused them all. $55 million in bonuses. It's unbelievable. Lou says Taylor doesn't know what heavy metal is. I bet she does. She seems like someone that's a scholar of music and a scholar of influences. And even though she came up through country, we're seeing now the lines blurring between rock and country like never before with artists like Jelly Roll and Hardy. David Draymond from Disturbed just messaged on social media that he wants Carrie Underwood to go up and sing Don't Tell Me, the Ann Wilson part, with Disturbed in Nashville when they roll through town. There's a lot more. The Venn diagram of rock and country is bleeding over a lot more. And even if you're a country artist or a rock artist, you're aware of what good music is. So I guarantee you Taylor Swift knows. She might not like metal, but I guarantee you she knows what good heavy metal is for sure. She knows who Metallica is and is probably very respectful of the fact that they sell out stadiums like she does. Let's see. Mr. C would be court-martialed if he left you for Taylor. Penny says Carrie Underwood is a huge metal fan. Yeah, she's a big Shinedown fan too. So it's pretty awesome. Matthew says not a Taylor Swift fan, but has built her brand very well over the years. And I do respect an artist. As for the NFL, that is exactly what it is that you just discussed. It is business. And knowing that she's at these games and is going to draw a massive audience, especially in potential for new fans, because football fans are going to watch football. There was a time when the NFL didn't make merch for women, period. Now they do. Now they have whole lines of merchandise for women. There was a time when women at football games, it was like, what? She doesn't like football. And there was a time when women weren't refs in the NFL. There was a time that they weren't on the coaching staff. There was a time when women didn't own the teams. I've loved football. I tried out for the football team in high school. So that didn't make anybody in Leominster very happy, but I digress. And so, yeah, of course the NFL is looking at it like there's not a lot of growth when it comes to the male audience of football. Where there's room for growth in advertising revenue and merch sales is the female audience. So, of course, they're going to go after that stuff. Of course they are. Eric says Aaron Lewis is another example of an artist that's between country and hard rock and metal. Exactly. What's up, Honey Joan? Tom says she got very political. So let me bring this up, too. Because I saw something the other, was I reading it today or yesterday? Expect a lot of Taylor Swift hate the closer we get to the election. And the same people telling Taylor Swift to shut up and sing, which is what's coming out a lot on one side of the political aisle, they don't say that to Kid Rock, do they? They don't say that to Ted Nugent, do they? They don't say it to Dana White. Shut up and just own the UFC. They don't say that. But when a woman talks about things that are important to her, they tell her to shut up and sing. I find that interesting that if you are on one side of the political spectrum, you are allowed to have a political opinion and to go to fundraisers for candidates and to sell merch for those candidates and make social media videos supporting those candidates and those political platforms. But if you're on the other side of the aisle, you are supposed to shut up and dribble. You're supposed to shut up and sing. And if Kid Rock can have a political opinion and a political voice, so can Taylor Swift. That's what makes this country great. Trying to belittle a woman's political voice, a woman that has her own power and wealth and success, to tell her to shut up and sing is insane. It's insane in 2024 that you are going to tell a woman to shut up and sing because of her political beliefs. So just think about who's saying it, because I read an article today about the all-out holy war. That was the quote that is going to be levied against Taylor Swift if she has the unmitigated gall to make a political statement in this election cycle. That's the quote, that there is going to be an all-out holy war against Taylor Swift. I don't see people telling Kid Rock that there's going to be an all-out holy war if he makes political statements. So Tracy said it's already started. She's supposedly helping to rig the Super Bowl. Yeah, exactly. It is a huge double standard, Kim, because there are plenty of musical artists that are very politically active. Nobody told, oh my God, who are all of the, Mark Wahlberg, nobody tells him to just shut up and act. He came out in support of a political candidate. Nobody said boo to him. Keith says, I would never tell her to shut up and sing. I might tell her to shut up and make me a sandwich, though. Keith, one of these nights you're going to get kicked in the dick by somebody. I'm just telling you. Because if you ever told me to shut up and make you a sandwich, there's going to be a dick kicking. Just so we're clear. Lou says it killed the Dixie Chicks. It's very sad. It didn't kill the Dixie Chicks. They still sell out concert tours. They still make music. But again, women having the unmitigated gall to have a political opinion, as if laws don't affect women. Sometimes specific laws only affect women. So the idea that they can't have just as strong an opinion to be able to make political donations, to be able to fundraise, to be able to go out, like, it's insane. If you see a guy in any employment, right? Actor, musician, artist, CEO, making political statements for a candidate, and then you see a woman doing the same thing and she's being criticized for it, that's sexism. That's male privilege, that you get to have political opinions and we don't. And you can do it without damage to your career, and women just have to expect that if we dare to open our fucking mouths that we have to pay a price for that. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And one of the things is, she did a social media post one day encouraging her fans to just register to vote, just to register. And like 64,000 people registered to vote within the next week. So Michael Cole says, did someone say sandwich? Donna says, right. Just shut up and let us control you. It's misogyny, Tracy. Exactly. When Keith asks a woman to make him a sandwich, it's typically after he blows her up first. Just like Barbie. Yeah, there's that whole thing, which awards are so subjective, right? Like, I never went to the theater to watch the Barbie movie, but I did watch it on demand. And I thought it was really well done. I thought it made a lot of really interesting points. I applaud Ryan Gosling and all of the other men that were in that movie that were willing to make some of those really bold, powerful women statements. I thought the America Ferrera diatribe about all of the pressures that are on women about not being too fat, but not being too thin. That whole thing is so true. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch just that 1 minute clip of America Ferrera's speech in the movie because that's how women feel. I thought it was really well done. It is interesting that it was the biggest movie in the box office and that the director and the star didn't get nominated, but the male actor got nominated. Like, I was like, but I think what could have happened, and I'm not trying to let anybody off the hook if it was misogynistic, is that maybe the voters, because there's a lot of them in the Academy, sometimes people, and it happens in political elections too, think, well, everybody else is going to vote for them. Like Margot Robbie's a shoo-in. Greta Gerwig is a shoo-in. So I'm going to vote for somebody else. And everybody thinks that way. And then the shoo-in doesn't get nominated. There's an entire podcast of that day in the studio. Wait, Denise says it happened to the actress from Full House who went to jail for the college payoff. Guys do it all the time. Let's see. Joe says, was it you in the studio when Shinedown did Simple Man, if I remember correctly? Yep. Joe, go listen to episode 189 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. All the audio is up there. I just released it a couple weeks ago. Aunt Becky. Yes, exactly. She did get in a lot of trouble. Well, she, photoshopped her daughter on the crew rowing team and she doesn't row. So that was kind of weird. Tracy says, I have my own money, my own thoughts, my own opinions, and I love the fact that it scares the shit out of some men. Yeah, that's one of the things that I respect about Travis Kelce, right? Is that he is physically this giant, huge guy in a male-dominated profession, in this super ultra macho thing, and he is so secure in himself to not only pursue somebody that's more successful than he is, meaning money-wise and brand worth-wise and all of that, but the fact that he flies all over the world to go watch her shows and like, we are noticing there's a reason why so many jerseys of Travis Kelce's are getting sold. It's because women are responding to the fact that we're watching a big, tough, successful guy not be intimidated by the success of his woman. I don't quote Nicki Minaj often, but she says in that song Monster, you can be the king, but watch the queen conquer. Like, it's kind of like that. And I am lucky enough to be able to tell you guys that Mr. C is like that with me. It would be very hard for me to be married to somebody that was not 100% supportive of my career and my successes and the hard work and the things that I've put into it. And trust me, back in the day when I was single, it was intimidating for guys that I tried to date. If I got recognized when we went out, if I made more money than them, that it causes problems. A lot of guys think that's ridiculous, but it still happens. And so there's a reason why girls are buying Travis Kelce's jersey, because they're watching him put his woman on a pedestal and cheer her on. And it's amazing. Rachel says, if you have Max, then please watch the Barbie movie with the option for ASL, the interpreter. It doesn't negate anything as far as audio, but Max said that if there's enough traffic, that they will start including that option in more of their movies that they stream. And that is a huge benefit for anybody who is deaf or hard of hearing. So let me ask this question. If you are hard of hearing, is closed captioning not preferred over sign language? I always assumed that closed captioning would be more preferred. Like, I have some friends that have just like depleted hearing that just always turn the closed captioning on. But do you prefer, if you're hard of hearing, do you prefer a sign language interpreter to closed captions? That's really interesting. I didn't know that. Barbara says it doesn't scare the good ones. Kim says, oh, but they're calling Taylor Swift a gold digger. Let me tell you what, if they ever get married, one of them is going to insist on the prenup, and it ain't going to be Travis Kelce. Let's get real. And his brand is worth a ton of money. So I'm a Cowboys fan, but I will still be happy to wear a Kelsey jersey. There you go. Now I Can Die. Mistress Carrie just referenced Nicki Minaj. And here's the only reason I know that quote. It's not because I listen to the music. Have you guys seen the Carpool Karaoke with Adele when she sings the Nicki Minaj lyrics? That's where I got the quote from, because Adele is so awesome. That dating intimidation thing happened even before you had money. Oh, thanks, Mr. Dillon. Bish says Taylor Swift has close to $3 billion. Yeah, and it's only going to go up, I hate to tell you. So her music catalog, now that she's re-recorded all of her albums and owns them outright, is only going to be worth more money, the way that the Beatles catalog is still worth so much money. We're watching so many of these legacy artists sell their catalogs for hundreds of millions of dollars, and she's not going to sell hers. I can see Taylor Swift holding on to all of the rights to her music and passing them down if she ever decides to have children, to create legacy wealth, to always want her music to be controlled by her family. Like, I bet it's in her will right now that if something happens to her, that her parents, who are probably her beneficiaries, are not allowed to sell the rights to her music, so that it's still controlled by the Swift family. Like, I could see that. When Adele's eyes bulge out because she's having so much fun, I love Adele. She's just, I want to go out drinking with Adele because she seems like she would be a freaking blast, 100%. Trina says redoing her albums was such a boss move. That's BDE. Taylor Swift has got BDE, seriously. Or BPE, maybe we should call it. All right. Want to tell you guys one quick thing. We talked about the Rolling Stone article last week. I'm not going to get into it again. I loved all the comments about the Rolling Stone article. I was told that the physical copies of Rolling Stone are out this week with the big article. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check my blog at mistresscarrie.com. There's a link there to be able to read the whole article. I also linked it on my Facebook and Twitter. But I do want to go and get some physical copies of it. And I heard that they have hit newsstands this week. So I am going to go out and grab some. I believe Dua Lipa is on the cover of this episode. All right. Pike events I want to tell you guys about. First of all, if you weren't aware, you can hear me every weekday afternoon on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester. Go to pikefm.com. Coming up February 23rd, it's a Friday night. I am going to be at Waterfront Mary's in Webster for Feel Good Friday from 5:30 to 7:30. A little after work party. We always have tickets to give away, prizes to give away, raffle stuff. There's always food specials. So put that in the calendar if you want to come and hang out with me and get drinks and food after work. Coming up February 23rd. The Big Gig tickets are on sale. Mike Shue and I are going to be hosting Big Gig 3 on April 27th at the DCU Center with Stain, Seether, Asking Alexandria, and Tim Montana, who was a guest on my podcast recently. And this got announced today, July 20th at Indian Ranch. The 2024 100 FM The Pike Hair Fest with some of the best 80s cover bands of all time. If you're a fan of AC/DC, if you're a fan of Def Leppard, if you're a fan of Van Halen, the whole lineup of the cover bands this year for the Hair Fest is awesome. It's a daytime concert. It's a total party fest. If you haven't been to Hair Fest, the tickets go on sale this Saturday at 10 a.m. And I put the link and everything up in the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com if you want to get tickets to the annual Hair Fest. If you didn't know, you can also hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine as well. And there are some shows coming up, including May 1st at the State Theater in Flames, The Bone presenting in Flames, and on Cinco de Mayo at Aura in Portland, Mammoth WVH. So definitely some cool shows that are coming up. All right. If you're new to the show, we always go through the cocktail books and try to find a cocktail recipe to help you up your mixology game. And I am always trying to find something that Might taste good. We try to avoid drinks with egg in it because it's weird. We try to avoid dairy drinks, but not all the time. Gin, not my favorite, but you guys seem to like it. So this is called Jerry's Juice. And it sounds really dangerous. It's an ounce of dark rum, a half an ounce of Cointreau, a half an ounce of cranberry juice, a half an ounce of passion fruit juice, and a dash of grenadine. It says shake the ingredients, strain into a cocktail glass, and serve. And basically, it just sounds like one of those drinks that you're not going to taste the booze at all. You're going to wake up with your pants off and you're going to have the world's worst hangover. And that is exactly what Jerry's Juice sounds like to me. But it sounds delicious. Between the dark rum, the Cointreau, the cranberry, and passion fruit juice with anything you put grenadine in is delicious anyway. So that's called Jerry's Juice. That's our cocktail this week, which I thought sounded delicious. All right, let's recap last week's podcast episode. We still got a lot to get through. And once again, this week, I'm long-winded. I apologize. Episode 190 last week came out featuring Mariah Formica from Plush. Her mom and dad got a shout out in the episode, and her mom and dad have been commenting on my social media pages saying, we love you. Thank you so much for having Mariah on again. If you don't know who Plush is, they just released their new EP, Find the Beautiful, like a couple weeks ago. They released a cover of Heart's Barracuda, which they've been doing in their live set for years. Mariah Formica sings Ann Wilson like she is stealing Ann Wilson's soul. And now Plush is opening up for Disturbed on the Take Back Your Life tour. And Mariah actually has been singing the Ann Wilson part of the new Disturbed single, Don't Tell Me, in place of Ann Wilson. And she is nailing it. They're going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena, I think February 9th down in Connecticut. Plush is unbelievable. They are one of these newer bands, all women. They all play. She plays guitar and sings. She shreds. They write their songs. They're not playing to a backup track. They really play their instruments. They're hot. They're badass. And we're in this whole new generation of women in rock and metal right now. And it is so inspiring. For as much shit as women are still getting with the Barbie stuff we talked about and the Taylor Swift hate and all that, we are in a renaissance of women in rock and metal right now. And there is some great music being made. And what is also great, to go back to what we were talking about with Travis Kelce, the fact that these bands like Disturbed, like Shinedown, are taking these bands out and going, bands like Baby Metal, Lilith Czar, obviously Hailstorm, New Year's Day, In This Moment, The Pretty Reckless. And they're going, no, we want these bands opening up. I remember how hard it was for female rock bands to get on the radio, to get tours, because there was one rock band at a time with a woman, like Evanescence. It's like, ooh, we have one. Comes up on the podcast all the time. And now we're seeing these rock bands and these guys go, no, these girls rock, not because they're girls, because they rock. They just happen to be women. And to all of the rock and metal bands that are doing that are supporting this amazing new generation of women in rock, you guys are doing it, man. Thank you for having our back, because it means a lot. So if you haven't heard their music yet, go give it a listen. Mariah is such an absolute blast. She is a lover of snakes and slithery things, which I do not share her love of that. But she talked to me about touring with Slash and talking about their snake collections and stuff. So she's super cool. So that was last week's episode. This week's episode, you guys are going to love. Longtime friend of the show. Super excited. Episode 191 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, welcoming Brian Head Welch from Korn. And after we recorded the interview, I was joking with him in the episode that I've got pictures when his hair was really short. And he was like, you've got to send me the picture. So I sent him this picture, which is backstage, I believe at the DCU Center in 1999. And he posted this picture up on his social media pages today. First of all, look at the cell phone that is on my hip. It's a Qualcomm cell phone. The thing was a damn brick. It was indestructible. Probably still my favorite cell phone ever. But look at how short his hair is. And obviously David Silverio, the original drummer from Korn. The comments when he posted this picture, hilarious. He was like, why am I so angry? Look at my face. But I love this old picture of us. Look at how young I was. Like, so crazy. But you may not know that Brian is now one of the investors in a new behavioral health clinic in Wilmington, Massachusetts. And so he was in Massachusetts last week. There was a chance he was going to come and record the interview live at MCHQ, but he didn't have the travel time to get there. So we ended up doing it by Zoom instead. But he was like, next time I want to come to the studio. But he talks about his ties to Massachusetts, which was kind of a surprise to him as well. Don't want to give it away, but it's in this week's episode. But he invested in a new outpatient behavioral mental health and wellness clinic, and it's in Wilmington. So in the show notes of this week's episode, there will be a link to the facility. If you know anybody that is struggling with mental health issues or addiction issues, obviously Head has been very vocal about his struggles with drugs. That's part of the reason why he left Korn, was to kind of get out of all of that. And he rejoined the band. The way he talks about Jonathan Davis in this episode, Fieldy, Monkey, just the band has been through so much. And he's just such a great guy. So I'm super excited for you guys to hear this week's episode. Episode 191 featuring Brian Head Welch from Korn goes live at midnight tonight. Lou says Plush is awesome. Eric says, so they are the new age Kitty. Not really, Eric, because Morgan Lander from Kitty did a lot more screaming and like howling, and they were more metal. Plush is a little bit more straight ahead rock and roll, and she has got this super deep like rock voice. It's very reminiscent of like a reincarnated Ann Wilson, who to most people is in the Rushmore of female rock vocalists, right? You've got the Stevie Nicks, you've got Ann Wilson, obviously. Then there's people like Pat Benatar and Joan Jett. And, you know, we could go into the debate about who the biggest women in rock are. But for a lot of people, Ann Wilson, when it comes to just sheer power, tone, control, Ann Wilson is at the top. And Mariah Formica sings heart songs, and you're like, what? And then when you listen to their original music, she has got such power, totally different than like a Morgan Lander from Kitty. And you guys know what a big Kitty fan I am too. So, hey y'all, better late than never, says Mark Straight. Let's see. The Iron Maidens. Absolutely love all of that stuff. Snake Suck, says Eric. I can only imagine with Kitty, they've been around since they were teenagers, all female metal band in the 90s, early 2000s, making a bit of a comeback. Yeah, I remember when they were in the Ozfest. Like WAF helped to break them. I have pictures of them when Mercedes Lander, the drummer, was like 16 years old, and their dad had to tour with them because they were minors. Like, just crazy. Keith says, people say that Head is my doppelganger. That's pretty interesting. Saw the pic today on Facebook that he posted, said Ryan. He looks so pissed in the picture. I know. And if I remember correctly, he was trying to get all of us to like mean mug it out, like a mug shot or something. But I was like, no, I'm with the guys in Korn. I'm smiling. Bish says, you haven't aged. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have, but I appreciate that. And yes, my hair is purple in the picture. It was just dark. But it is purple in the picture. Didn't Brian get reborn again into Christianity? He's been very vocal about that he got super religious, super evangelical. And then he admitted that maybe he overcorrected and kind of replaced one addiction with the other. He's still incredibly active in his faith, but he overcorrected to the point where he didn't want to be a member of Korn anymore after he sobered up, because Jonathan Davis, and we talk about Jonathan Davis's sobriety in this episode. Jonathan Davis has been sober since the 90s. So while other members of Korn weren't, and obviously Head wasn't for a long time, Jonathan was. And Head at one point realized that maybe he had gone too far into preaching to other people in religion and kind of found a place where he's at peace with his own faith and letting other people kind of find their own spiritual journey and happier than ever back in Korn. He talks about his faith openly, but not in a preachy, like, you're doomed if you don't believe what I believe kind of thing, which I totally respect for him. Which is how I am, I think, with anybody's religion. If it works for you, great. But the minute that you want to make it forced on someone else, or that you're convinced that everyone else is doomed because they don't subscribe to your belief system, or that you believe all the laws in a country should be factored based on your spirituality and belief system, that's when I'm kind of like, that's not how we're going to do this whole thing. Michael Cole says, wait, is the hair not purple? It is purple. It's just that the lighting is bad. Carrie, you need to get the ladies from The Warning. I'd love them. Oh my God, I would love to have them on the show. That would be great. Janice still holds the title. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a woman that, yeah, if you're going to carve Mount Rushmore of female rock singers, like, Janice has got to be in there. She's 100%. She was kicking down doors for the women in the 80s and the 60s. Hell yeah, she was. Let's see. Ralph says BC beats Syracuse 80-75. Way to go, BC. Let's see. Jonathan says, super tired. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Good night, all. Good night, Jonathan. I saw the WAF motorhome in Western Massachusetts in a salvage yard, says Ralph. Yeah, we know. Years ago when they scrapped that thing, they were supposed to scrub all of the logos off of it, and they still haven't. And it breaks my heart to see the old rock bus, like, just kind of growing barnacles. It makes me sad. Keith says, I have not been sober since the 90s. Does Tina Turner count? I mean, look, if you're going to talk about women in rock, the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was Aretha. The first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice was Tina Turner, both as a member of Ike and Tina Turner and then as a solo artist. And yeah, I think Tina Turner counts. I mean, there have been debates about what the definition of rock is, right? And if you do the archaeological dig of rock that we discuss in the podcast all the time, rock goes back to the blues because all of the original rock stars say it, right? That the guys in the Beatles are like, without Little Richard, you know, it wouldn't exist. And Little Richard says, well, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did if it wasn't for all of those blues cats in the 30s and 40s. So if you're going to look at Little Richard and then you ask somebody in the modern era, is Little Richard rock? They'd be like, he's oldies, but Little Richard's rock. So of course, Tina Turner would be considered rock in my eyes anyway. And I think, you know, Aretha, I mean, she's in the Blues Brothers, for fuck's sake. She's rock. Same thing with Dolly now. Like, she's more of a rock star than most rock stars I know, which is kind of hilarious. Would you consider Pink to be a rock singer? I think Pink could be a rock singer. I also think Fergie could be a rock singer. One of my favorite Slash songs is that song that he did with Fergie. It never got released as a single. It's called Pretty Vicious. Is that what it is? Can you guys Google that for me? Because it is unbelievable. And it's Fergie singing a Slash song, and she rips. The fact that Fergie hasn't come out with like a rock album, or that like Fergie and Pink haven't come out and like guested on rock bands, like, that needs to happen. They have got that raspy rock voice 100%. Lou says Tina is rock and roll. I completely agree. Ann Wilson, still a talented singer. Yep, exactly. Beautiful Dangerous. Eric, thank you very much. If you guys don't know that song by Slash, Beautiful Dangerous, that Fergie sings, put that shit on right now while we're talking. That song should have been a #1 rock song, but I heard that they couldn't get the rights to release it as a single. I think because of the Black Eyed Peas at the time or something. I don't know, but that song, and it came out in a time where women, the female rock voice in rock radio wasn't where it is now. Beautiful Dangerous should have been a #1 rock song. It's unbelievable. Would you consider Lizzie Hale a rock singer? Jessica, 100% Lizzie Hale. Lizzie Hale is a freaking goddess of rock singers, 100%. 100%. Louise says Pink and Fergie should do a rock song together. That would be unbelievable. Google Pink doing Queen, Somebody to Love from LA at the Taylor Hawkins tribute. I watched it. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. She's fantastic. Turn that shit up louder. Exactly. Yes, so 100%. All right. So this episode goes live at midnight tonight, episode 191, featuring Brian Head Welch from Korn. Really great conversation. He's awesome. We had a blast. Don't forget, if you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, you get the weekly episodes. You also get the daily sit rep Monday through Friday with all of your rock news, concert announcements, music updates, entertainment updates, movie stuff. Did you guys watch the trailer for the new Ghostbusters? I was talking about it in the sit rep yesterday. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. I can't wait for it to come out. So you get the sit rep Monday through Friday. You can listen to the podcast anywhere. Super easy for you guys. It's all over the place. Every podcast outlet. You can listen to all the episodes on YouTube. If you guys are subscribing to my YouTube channel, you'll see that I am slowly putting the back catalog of podcast episodes up on YouTube, but all the new episodes are all there. And as always, you can always listen to all the episodes. Just go to mistresscarrie.com. Find the episode you want to listen to, and then just click play on the player and you can listen. Holding out strong at 149 countries still. Someday we're going to get to 150 countries. I feel it in my bones. It just is not this week. If you're celebrating your birthday today, Phil Collins is the only one that I could find today. So happy birthday. Robert Plant put up a really sweet tribute to Phil Collins today, who I think is 74 today. And Robert Plant said something about how Phil Collins was there right after the loss of John Bonham to be a support system for Robert Plant. And so Robert Plant put up a really touching social media post about Phil Collins' birthday today, which I thought was great. Carrie, Miley Cyrus is a good rock singer. Again, 100%. She's got that raspy, really powerful set of pipes that she can just hit. Like Miley Cyrus can sing Janis Joplin. 100%. Absolutely. Dolly doing Queen. What the F? She's Dolly, man. Let's see. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Donna says. So if today's your birthday, cheers. Happy unbirthday, Keith. I didn't forget you this week. No, I didn't. Keith said, oh my God, is she going to do it again? No, not this week, Keith. Happy unbirthday to you. And if you're new to the War Room and you don't know why we say that, go to mistresscarrie.com, click Cocktails in the War Room, click the dictionary, and you'll figure it out. All right, a reminder, Serge Tankian's memoir, Down with the System, is coming out on May 14th. Bush, the Loaded Greatest Hits Tour, is going to be at the at the Leader Bank Pavilion in Boston on August 24th with Jerry Cantrell and Candlebox. Those tickets are on sale. Just announced Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper at the Xfinity Center with Ministry and Filter. That is going to be September 6th. Those tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. And those shows are up on the events calendar. Speaking of memoirs, did you guys hear about Anthony Kiedis? He wrote his memoir back in 2004. It's called Scar Tissue, about growing up. His upbringing is just a crazy story with his dad. Brian Grazer from Imagine Entertainment secured the options to the book and is going to be making it into a movie. And Anthony Kiedis is going to be one of the producers of the movie. That is going to be a crazy movie when Anthony Kiedis' book gets made into a feature film. It's going to be nuts. Hi, Wednesday. I didn't realize you were sitting back there. You're being such a good girl. Nothing new scheduled at the Garden yet. We still don't have rescheduled Aerosmith dates yet, so I'll let you know. Big Gig 3 happening at the DCU on April 27th. And also, Spencer Charnas and the Ice Nine Kills guys have announced the Silver Scream Con. That is happening at the DCU Center September 13th through the 15th. That is also up in the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. And Iron Maiden, DCU, November 6th. That is all up there. Speaking of Spencer, I owe him a text. We were texting last week about Silver Scream Con. Big Night Live has got Set It Off, Crown the Empire, also Star Set. All of these shows are up on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Xfinity Center, Hardy, Alanis Morissette, Limp Bizkit, Styx, Foreigner, ZZ Top, Lynyrd Skynyrd, 30 Seconds to Mars, Creed with Three Doors Down and Finger 11, and now Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie with Ministry and Filter. You guys will remember last year, Richard Patrick from Filter was on for the last leg of that tour. That's a great interview if you missed that one. Also, the record company tomorrow night at Sinclair. Let's see, Adam Ant at the Wilbur coming up on April 1st. Steve Vai and Joe Satriani at the Orpheum. That's April 5th. And then, of course, Joe Satriani is going to be on the Sammy Hagar Best of All Worlds tour this summer with Michael Anthony, Jason Bonham, Loverboy opening up that tour. And we were just talking about Bush, obviously, at the Leader Bank Pavilion as well. And then... Extreme and Living Color were just at Foxwoods. Got to remove that one. Bret Michaels at Mohegan. That's coming up February 9th. Disturbed at Mohegan with Falling in Reverse February 10th. John 5, the Tupelo Music Hall, February 16th. John 5, by the way, just inducted Tom Morello into the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. I'll give you guys a hint. Another person that just got inducted into the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame is coming up on an episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast. Just a little hint. The Rolling Stones at Gillette coming up May 30th. The Sasanta Tour with Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle at the Box Center Wang Theater coming up April 2nd and 3rd. Those tickets are on sale. The Foos at Fenway, Blink-182 at Fenway, Green Day, The Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas at Fenway. Fenway's going to rock. Collective Souls opening up for Hootie and the Blowfish at Fenway this year. Coming up at the Palladium, the Machine Killer Tour with Static X, Seven Dust, and Dope, and also Queensryche and Armored Saint. That is going to be on April 27th. And the MGM Music Hall has got the Dropkick Murphys coming. Also Porno for Pyros on May 5th. Guster on March 5th, March 30th. Judas Priest, April 25th. The Black Crowes, April 28th, Bad Religion and Social D, and also Ghost is at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. Those tickets sold out in like 5 seconds. I got to get that added up here on this screen. Let's see. The Red Rocker. Did you guys see that he was on Finding Your Roots? Sammy Hagar was on PBS, and his last name is really Belcher, which he had no idea that his real last name's not Hagar. It's on demand. You got to watch it. House of Blues, Crosses, Alkaline Trio, The Dropkicks, Blackberry Smoke, Architects, and Black Veil Brides are all going to be at the House of Blues this spring. Black Label Society announced a festival. Oh, Eric, I know. It was in the sit rep in the Poconos. Rival Sons are playing it. There's going to be a charity motorcycle ride to in memory of Dimebag Darrell. There's going to be a car show. There's going to be like grappling and all of this other stuff, because would you expect anything else from Zakk Wylde? Machine Head at the Paradise, Code Orange, Modest Yahoo, and Girls School. And also new releases coming out on Friday. Jay Mascis is releasing his new album, What Do We Do Now? Modest Yahoo, who is going to be at the Paradise, releasing his new EP, Orgy, celebrating the 25th anniversary of their debut album, Candy Ass, which I still love. It's got the cover of Blue Monday on it. So good. Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run, the 50th anniversary edition. The Rolling Stones releasing the singles 68 to 71 on vinyl. The Who with some new vinyl reissues. Amy Winehouse, the vinyl reissue of Frank coming out. And also Brittany Howard releasing What Now? Static X show is sold out, says Eric. Bish says, can't wait for Judas Priest. Let's see. Louise says that was such a crazy episode talking about Sammy Hagar. Cypress Hill at Roadrunner in Boston. Eric, I will get that one added up on the calendar as well. Let's see. Keith says, Danny, when she's reading this stuff, she gets into the zone and doesn't really see the chat. Danny, what did you post that I missed? Yeah, sometimes when I'm trying to keep track of all the stuff I want to tell you guys, Can you please say hello to Dapper from Watertown? What's up, Dapper? I hope that's not code for something disgusting. Band on the Run was my favorite growing up, says Donna. Got Ghost tickets. Nice. The Sleep Token tickets. It's after I saw them at the Palladium with Danielle. Be sure to do a Facebook post so we can spread the word. Facebook post about what? What are we talking about, Kim? You're the best, and no, that's my nickname. Oh, okay, Danny. All right, that's good. All right, mail call. Wednesday, you're scratching me just because you want me to pet you. No mail call this week, guys. So nothing so far in the mail this week. If you're new to the War Room, sometimes, especially during the height of the pandemic, you guys would send me the craziest things, get me to try new flavors of chips and chocolate, and you're always sending me dick-shaped things, which I think are hilarious. So that's the mail call address. All right. I have seen one mock-up, sent it back for some revisions. Mistress Carrie drumsticks from Vader Percussion are in the works. They're not in production yet. We're still finalizing the design, but there will be Mistress Carrie drumsticks in the online store. I'm hoping by spring. Probably by the big gig, although I don't think I'll be able to sell them at the big gig. But there, if you're a drumstick collector, there will be Mistress Carrie drumsticks on the way. There's guitar picks, so why not drumsticks? Maybe guitar straps someday too would be really cool. Okay. If you have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you get extra access to the exclusive monthly live streams. You can submit podcast interview submissions, travel blog updates. You get early access to event tickets and exclusive concert ticket giveaways. If you have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you have access to free Porno for Pyros tickets to see them at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway coming up on March 5th. If you have a Backstage Pass and you want Porno for Pyros tickets, message me through Patreon. You guys know how to do it. If you do not have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you just go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie and get one, or click the Patreon link at mistresscarrie.com. And when new merch comes out, you guys also get discount codes to be able to get the new merch at a discount. I will tell you that if you're a Backstage Pass holder, we are going to have an emergency live stream later on this week. So I think I can talk about it a little bit now. I can't get into specifics for security reasons, but last week, the 181st Infantry from the Mass Army National Guard deployed overseas. They had a big send-off ceremony at the DCU Center. I was talking about it on the air. There's pictures of it up on the Mass Army National Guard Facebook page of the send-off ceremony. Every year, you guys can see the pictures that I put up on my Facebook page and Instagram. I attend what's called the Blue Cord Ball. Now, when an Army soldier wears their dress uniform and they wear a blue cord across their shoulder, that means that they're in the infantry. Massachusetts has 2 infantry battalions, the 181st and 182nd. The 182nd is who I was in Afghanistan with. So they are getting ready to have their Blue Cord Ball, which is their big formal annual gala. And they have asked me to be the guest of honor this year at the Blue Cord Ball. The Blue Cord Ball is coming up. For security reasons, I have been told that I can't publicly post about it because of all of the protests that are going on politically right now. The last thing that anybody needs is people trying to frickin' protest outside of a formal Army gala. But I have been asked to be the guest of honor. Mr. C and the kids are coming up. This is a dress blues affair. It's a gown affair. And I am working on my speech that I have to give for the ball that's coming up. And I talked about it a little bit with the Backstage Pass holders. And they said, if you need to work out the kinks of your speech, the Backstage Pass holders volunteered to let me do that. And I'm going to take you guys up on it. So we are going to do a run through of the speech. I am going to let you guys know when that's going to happen. I'm going to post that up in Patreon. So if you don't have a Backstage Pass, get one. If you've got one, just keep your eyes on it. And we're going to work out the kinks of my speech before I do it live so I don't embarrass myself. Just paying homage to the dictionary. That's all, says Trina. Keith says purple tip like the purple-headed yogurt slinger. Oh, Jesus. Let's see. Well, there has been an F-bomb this week? Yeah, there was an F-bomb earlier. Louise says that is so exciting. If Mr. C comes up in his blues, he'll be the king of the ball. So he's infantry in the Marine Corps. So while he does not wear a blue cord like the Army does if they're infantry, he's a grunt nonetheless. And so even though it's an Army ball, Mr. C would still be wearing his Marine dress blues. Daniel says, hey, hon, I'm off topic, but going to grab LB's bike. He's donating it to our Vernon Hill American Legion Post 435 for our upcoming suicide prevention program for our first responders, veterans, and local community. I have been linked in these stories so many times. Not one bit of this surprises me. LB's support of veterans, his generosity, his selflessness has been decades long. And I think LB is probably I saw a video of him at the Bruins reunion recently, and he was walking with walking sticks. So I don't think LB can ride his bike anymore. The fact that he's donating his bike to a fundraiser is pretty unbelievable. Annie Ange joining us here in the War Room. Annie Ange is going to be at the ball, getting all dressed up. Can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. Mark says, fucking A, Carrie. Cool. I'll take it easy on you, says Brett. So sad about the U.S. service members that were killed in Syria, the reservists. It just brings up so much for me that they're all from the same unit, from the same area. I just have so many feelings, and it's thankfully has become an infrequent thing that our service members are killed in combat. More often, they're killed recently in training accidents and in like aircraft crashes. But the fact that we lost 3 young soldiers in an attack, so many people ask me about my trips overseas and whether or not I was in danger or whatever. And it just goes to show that, there's no safe place. When you put a uniform on in service to this country, your training is dangerous. The vehicles are dangerous. You're dealing with dangerous explosives just in training, the transportation of those things, learning to fly incredibly fast aircraft, the amount of travel you're doing, obviously going into really dangerous places. There are so many ways that you are put in harm's way when you raise your right hand and take that oath and put a uniform on. And it is why I have spent the better part of the last 25 plus years of my career advocating for the best treatment possible of our service members and veterans, because there's no front lines. The service members are hurt and killed all the time in training accidents. But the training is required because when they need that training, when it's a real life scenario, they've got to know. So they've got to handle the live ammo. They've got to handle the live explosives. They've got to be in the vehicles. They've got to be in the aircraft. And so seeing the news this week that 3 young soldiers were killed is just devastating. Bish says, Carrie, don't mention blueberry cobbler in the speech. Keith says, Annie Ange, do you need a date for the ball? She does not, Keith. No hitting on Annie Ange. How can she not mention the blueberry cobbler, says Donna. You'll probably have to wear pants for that, Keith. Annie Ange says you couldn't handle it. That is a fact, Keith. That is a fact. Taking care of my 73-year-old uncle just home from the hospital and a rehab stay. Ralph, that is fantastic. I'm pretty, so obviously to just talk about the service members, my thoughts are with their family and all of their brothers and sisters in arms. Hey, get down. There was a time not long ago that people debated whether or not women should be serving in the military at all, never mind in infantry units, in forward positions. And we saw in this case, 2 of the 3 soldiers were female. And their sacrifice is no less noble, that they were doing their job. And the fact that we are at a point in a society where we are celebrating our service members, regardless of whether they're male or female, and that we are honoring the sacrifice, whether they're male or female, is where I had always hoped we would be. We've gone from a place where they said women shouldn't be police officers to when a female officer is killed in the line of duty, that the streets are lined with male officers showing her due respect and saluting. Same in the fire service. And to see the same respect given to these female soldiers that are fallen as the male soldiers. These women knew what they were getting themselves into. They swore the same oath. They raised the same right hand. They put on the same uniform. And, I am proud that our country is protected by selfless soldiers, Marines, airmen, coasties, and what are we calling the Space Force guys and women now? But the fact that it's men and women doing it together, I think, to me, if you want to serve. Because there's a lot of people that don't want to. And getting into arguments about the people that do want to, I think is kind of ridiculous. So can you guys remind me what the members of the Space Force are called? Why can't I remember that right now? Look at Wednesday eye mugging me down there in the corner. You guys will remind me what that is. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what's going on with the Blue Cord Ball. After it happens, I'll post pictures and all of that stuff. But I'm honored beyond words to be asked to be the guest of honor. Just amazing. I want to remind you guys where you can find me online. Obviously, you can download the Pike app. You can download the Bone app, and you can listen to my shows live through the app if you're not in the listening areas. The Guardians, Keith, thank you. They are not Trekkies, Bish. They are Space Force Guardians. Thank you for the correction. No disrespect to the Guardians. It's so new that I've never even met a Guardian yet. Like, I would recognize the mission patches, obviously, but have not met a Guardian yet. So if you're a Guardian and you're in the Space Force, thank you. Hey, shush. And then obviously all the places you can find me: Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Cameo, YouTube, Patreon. Just go to mistresscarrie.com. And then, of course, the podcast has Instagram and Threads as well. So nanu, says Ryan. Michael Cole says there should be 2-year mandatory service. And you know what? The people have talked about that. And I was talking about earlier about selective service. Here's my whole thing on that. There are people that are capable of serving in the armed forces. I truly believe that rather than forcing people to do something they don't want to do, that you incentivize people to do what they want to do because they're going to do a better job. You talk to people that got drafted into Vietnam versus people that enlisted. So to me, mandatory service, I think, is an interesting concept, but there are a lot of ways to serve. You could serve as a teacher in an inner city school. You could serve as a tutor. You could serve in what is going to be a growing problem, mark my words, and an epidemic in the next 10 years, which is the catastrophic lack of early childhood development care, daycare, and also elder care. So I think there's a lot of different ways that people could be incentivized, whether it be wiping away their student loan debt, incentivizing a path to citizenship by having service be a way to work it off. They do it with medical professionals. The Army, if you get into medical school and enlist in the Army, they will pay for you to go to whatever medical school you get into because they want the best doctors, the best dentists, the best veterinarians. And you get out of medical school and do a certain number of years in the military and you got a free medical degree. I think there's a way to incentivize that kind of stuff rather than just saying everybody needs to pick up a gun, because I don't think everybody's suited for that kind of job. The people that are, I'm incredibly grateful for. Wednesday. But I think there are people that would be much better served tutoring and teaching our service members' kids or taking care of our service members' elderly parents that they're not around to be able to take care of. But I do think that incentivizing people to take on bigger service roles for our community at large and more locally, that there are ways to do it, for sure. It doesn't have to be military service, just service. Mark, that's exactly what I'm saying. What is Wednesday barking at? I don't know. So yeah, I think there are ways to do that. We got a lot of people that, have a lot of that have a lot of student loan debt and are looking for ways to pay it off. Teaching in inner city schools, people that are bilingual, teaching English as a second language to people that have immigrated or trying to become a citizen. The biggest population of people that enlist in the military, immigrants. So creating a path to citizenship for people that are willing to give 4, 6, 8, 10 years in service to the military in exchange for citizenship. Sure, why not? Can you imagine being so loyal to a country that isn't where you were born, that you are willing to put on a uniform in service to that country in exchange for citizenship? It happens all the time. So, Donna says, I bake cookies. Is that service? You know what? If you're helping to feed the homeless, if you're baking those cookies for the elderly that are in need of daycare programs and Meals on Wheels, 100%. Take what you're good at and find a way to contribute to the community at large. We would have a way better community at large if everybody did that. Keith says you haven't baked me any. So there you go. Hey, Mistress Carrie, great Tool shirt, phenomenal show in November. Susie, agree. I tried 25 years ago and couldn't pass the ASVAB, says William. Yeah, there's some people are good at some things. Some people are good at other things. There are football, athletes. Jason Kelce is a massive mountain of a man. He does not have the body type to be a long distance runner or, a special operations operator. He's too big. So just because he's a professional athlete doesn't mean he would be good at this, or this. Like, we've all got to find whatever it is that we're good at and find a way to be a little more selfless and to be able to contribute a little more. So there you go. All right, guys, super excited about this week's podcast episode. Brian Head Welch from Korn is going to be my guest on episode 191. That goes live at midnight tonight. Backstage pass holders, keep your eyes on Patreon and also let me know about the Porno for Pyros tickets as well. Wednesday, are you ready to say goodnight? Come here. Can you apologize to everybody for barking in the middle of the show? Can you say goodnight to everyone? Huh? Say I'm better, but I'm still sad because Charlie is gone and the baby is gone too. Can you say goodnight? Don't kick me in the face. Say goodnight, everybody. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Getting caught up on your comments. All right. Say goodnight, Wednesday. New episode of the podcast at midnight. Good night, everybody.